Before opening night, preseason, or even training camp, there must be a Sacramento Kings Media Day, an unofficial basketball festival of sorts where the entire team, coaching staff, and front office staff come together to pose for pictures and answer questions. The unofficial tip-off of the NBA season is here, and you are listening to Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Media Day 2025. I'm Matt George, back here in the ABC 10 studios after a long but always fun day inside what is normally the Sacramento Kings practice facility, except they turn it into one of those massive, remember like the photo stations when you were in elementary school for your school pictures that would go in the yearbook? Think that, but multiplied by 100. That is what an NBA Media Day looks like in Sacramento. And now us on the television side of things and on the podcast side of things, we're tucked in one corner where they bring us coach and front office member and player after player for us to talk to and interview. And you're going to hear from a lot of those players and head coach Doug Christie here in just a little bit. But the other stations, those are all the photos you see, whether it's their official NBA headshots or photos on team websites. When you go to a game and you see all those promo videos with the awesome lighting effects in the background, or maybe the flames shooting out, or you see those fun games that they do on the Jumbotron, the Bongo Cam, things like that. All of that is taken care of at Media Day. It's a day that can be long, certainly is exhausting, but is the, I guess, unofficial tip-off to the start of the season, because now the players will get ready for a grueling NBA training camp that tips off and begins tomorrow morning. Of course, we'll get to that when we get to tomorrow. Let's talk about and listen to what some of the players and Coach Doug Christie had to say at Media Day today. And we're going to start off hot, and I mean hot, with DeMar DeRozan, who didn't shy away in front of the cameras and microphones of truly talking about how difficult and chaotic and crazy last season was. Of course, his first season in Sacramento.
I think last year, this summer I didn't realize how much I wasn't myself, from like a mental standpoint, from, that. So the best version of me really wasn't there, and the approach that I took this summer was, just kind of like refining myself coming into this season, understanding, the opportunity that's, in front of us all, and don't take it for granted. Go out there, be myself, be my fun, competitive self, and go out there, and compete.
Doug could only change so much when taking over midseason like he did.
Yeah.
Now that he gets a full training camp, a summer to implement new things, what do you think that's going to unlock for him and for you guys?
I think it's just give us what we needed. Last year was one for the books for me. With so much stuff from start to end. Just be honest with you, it was just a lot of that was going on that, internally we tried to fight through as players, and I can only imagine from a coaching staff. Then, with so much change from the front office, y'all know it was a lot going on. But we, with the guys that was here, we still try to manage to make something out of it, and from that moment on when things started to change, I knew if we had the opportunity to be under Doug and see Doug's vision and have a training camp with Doug, with the players we needed, we could do something, and we didn't have that, last year because so much stuff was happening. So I think this time around, you'll see a much different team.
Training camp hasn't even started yet, but have you already noticed kind of that reset and the difference from the chaos of last year?
Without a doubt, and it's not nobody's fault. We all have issues internally with our jobs and everything, and sometimes you gotta learn how to pivot and maneuver through that, and I think that's just what it was. Just call it what it was. Last year it just was internally a show, and this time around we got a chance to make right DeRozan that kind of happened.
Debo, how did you get to remove yourself from that dark cloud going into an off season and then finding like optimism or at least encouragement of what's around you?
Yeah, you don't realize what you're really in until you get away from it. You know, like sometimes when you're in a relationship, you got to get out of a relationship to realize who you are. You know, I think for me, like once the off season hit, I kind of just took some time to myself and because I'm a real optimistic person. So sometimes you may not see reality in the moment. And, you know, when I got after the season ended, I kind of just took a moment and, you know, just realized from, you know, look myself in the mirror from the standpoint of how I felt and the weight that I was carrying from a negative perspective all season that allowed me not to be myself. And I just tried to take a different approach this summer going into this moment, even talking with the guys, working out with the guys this summer, you know, seeing their approach, you know, the hunger, also reading all the bullshit that media writes about us, you know what I mean? You kind of just find a different recharge that you need to, you know, get ready for the next challenge. So
in light of that, was there, because of all those feelings, and was there ever a time you thought, I'm not going to be back here? I mean, are you surprised that you're still here?
Nah, I didn't. That was never a thought. I always wanted to come back, and like not once have I questioned if I would be back or not. I always just wanted to give, you know, give the fans in this organization what I came here to do, and that's to win, you know. And you know, I carried a lot of that negative stuff when, you know, things went wrong last year and we didn't make it, you know. So this time around, just feeling recharged, rejuvenated, and, you know, remotivated to, you know, make those things happen.
Speaking of media BS outside of here, right? They don't have you very high in terms of where you guys are going to end the year. Does that motivate you at all?
Yeah, hell yeah, it motivates me for sure. I hate, you know, yes, it motivates me for sure. Like, I already done cussed too much today. I ain't gonna say too much, but yeah, it definitely pisses me off, and it's motivation, you know. And sometimes that's all you need, you know. And for me, that's what I need to see something like that, and, you know, ride with that.
Whew. Debo not pulling any punches, I guess. Hey, 17 years in the league, I guess you feel comfortable saying what you got to say. And honestly, some of that brutal honesty was a welcome sight, or good to hear in a way. You can acknowledge it and then move on from it. And we all know, those of us who are, whether it was directly around the organization or even Kings fans watching from afar, knew something was wrong last year and everything just felt off. And last year was a complete roller coaster ride circus. And hopefully this team can move forward from that. So when I asked Debo about, have you already noticed a reset, a change, a difference after getting away and this team now coming back together, his answer of like, absolutely, yeah, it's completely different. Like that was a welcome sight to hear. So as much as it might frustrate Kings fans to have to think about how last season went again, it's almost like the entire organization, including the fan base, needs a little bit of a fresh start. And it seems like that's what this group is getting this year, especially considering so much of this roster is actually the same from last year. There's some new additions like point guard Dennis Schroeder, who you'll hear from later on in the show. Of course, the Kings rookies, the draft picks from earlier this summer, Scott Perry himself. But for the most part, this roster is the same. Doug Christie is back now as the full-time head coach. So there's a lot of similar faces from last year's chaos, but the faces can be the same. The chaos gotta go. And I'm glad Debo addressed that in his straightforward, blunt way, which is certainly probably the biggest takeaway or the thing that most people are going to respond to. And the headlines are going to basically emphasize words that I cannot say that Debo said right there about how last season went. But now we look forward. And, of course, in addition to DeMar DeRozan, there's a lot of expectation on the shoulders of Zach LaVine here in Sacramento. Zach talked about his relationship with new Kings general manager Scott Perry. Also talked about the addition of Dennis Schroeder. I asked Zach about his opportunity to work with Domantas Sabonis this summer and how that relationship has improved. A lot of good stuff here from Zach LaVine.
I've known Scott for a decent amount of time, even before I got here, and seen him and talked to him before. Scott's a winner, and you know, I think with his direction and with what he wants to do, those 6 points that he points out a lot of, give you a chance each and every night to put yourself in the best position to win. So you have to follow that.
Zach, what's the domino effect on you and the rest of the team having a veteran, experienced point guard like Dennis?
Yeah. No, Dennis is great. First off, congratulations to him, especially what he just did overseas and winning that and winning the MVP. Dennis has been nothing but a true pro, and you know we battled against him. I have being in the Eastern Conference. Very feisty, but you know very high IQ and team-oriented guard. And you know I'm excited to work with him and being with a point guard that's definitely been in big-time games and knows what he's doing. So I think having a lead guard is big in the NBA.
Have you gotten any opportunity this summer to work specifically with Domas in the two-man game, or are you emphasizing that in training camp at all?
So me and Domas talked a lot this summer. Domas was up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which I was a little envy of because it's really nice. But we saw each other in LA a couple times, and then over the last 3 weeks, we've actually been coming back in here into Sacramento, coming in and out. And we've been doing good, man. The team came early. We've been playing. We've been practicing. We've been getting, reps in. Not just me and Domas, a lot of the guys, and a lot of the young guys have been here, been in here a lot, which is big. So, I think we're all going in the right direction.
I hope that last part of what Levine had to say excites you as a Sacramento Kings fan. Over the last 3 weeks, before any team-specific mandatory activities, you've already had a lot of this team already working together here in Sacramento. You're putting in that extra time on the floor to not just get in shape, but to get acclimated together so that they can almost hit the ground running in training camp, have a head start. And I remember a video that came out during the NBA Finals of the Indiana Pacers, who of course made it to the NBA Finals last year, them getting together and working together early last season, and how big of a difference that made for them and of course their finals run last year. Now, I'm not predicting the Kings are going to make a finals run necessarily, but the initiative from this group, including the veterans like Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, to show up early, to get to work early, to want to get together and start to work before their technical first day of the year or first mandatory practice, that speaks volumes to me. And I think Kings fans should be very excited about that. This episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and, most importantly, 0 crashes. I love these 5 Hour Energy shots because of how portable they are. I can take them with me to work, take them with me to a Kings Media Day to get through the hours of recording and editing and conversations. They're also great on a golf course as well to help get you through a full 18 when that front 9 maybe didn't go so well. And they're amazing flavors. You've got to try them, right? It really ups that caffeine game, the enjoyment level for you. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the flavors that you love, or be bold and try something new, whether it's in-store or online at www.5hourenergy.com or order on Amazon today. Malik Monk has been all over the rumor mill this summer. His name floated around in all sorts of trade rumors. Of course, the conversations and the rumors about the Sacramento Kings pursuing Golden State Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga. Malik's name has been brought up a lot as a player that could potentially be on the move. Well, Malik is still a Sacramento King, and in his classic Malik Monk cheery, smiley way, he addressed the trade talk noise, his role with the Sacramento Kings, and more.
Your name was a part of a lot of trade talks this offseason. How do you block that noise out and just focus on the game?
If my agent don't call me and tell me anything, it's not going to happen. My agent called me right before trade deadline. He said if anything happens, it's going to happen today. Did nothing happen, and I haven't been worried about it.
The new pieces, what role would you like to see yourself play?
I don't care, man. I just want to play basketball. I want to play winning basketball.
If you could dictate your role, how would it be?
I'm not a dictator. I'm not a coach, so I can't. I think everybody want to play 50 minutes and average 30, right? But yeah, I'm ready for whatever though. So I bought a house, bought some acres. So you tell me.
So this is home.
Exactly, exactly. Feels just like it. Like I said before, I've been feeling home here. I love it here. So yeah, yep.
I know you said you didn't, try or didn't think a lot about the speculation, but to feel like you found a home in the NBA and then to be the subject of speculation, does that kind of shake that in you at all?
For some people, yeah, but for me, what I've been through, no. And my support system is amazing. My brother, my agents, my mom, they always keep me upbeat. But I came to talk to Scott too, right before everything, and he told me the same thing my agent told me. So I like that from Scott. I appreciate him for coming forward and telling me to come talk to him. That's being professional. A lot of GMs don't do that, so I thank Scott for that.
Malik, what do you make of the potential and just overall talent of this roster and what this team can be in the West?
Fast. I feel like we can run. We can get out on a lot of people, a lot of teams, and we can surprise a lot of teams like we did our first year, I feel like.
Now, there's a lot of reasons with this Kings team to have questions, how effective they can be, how this will work, and what the product is going to be on the floor on a nightly basis. But I think what Malik Monk said there at the very end about the pace and the speed that this team wants to play with can be something really appealing to Sacramento Kings fans. That's a very fun brand of basketball, getting up and down, and it was the way the Sacramento Kings played 3 seasons ago when they ended their playoff drought, the initial Beam team, which of course Malik Monk was a part of, and they finished 3rd place in the Western Conference. So we would love to see them get back to that. Another guy with a bit of an uncertain future here in Sacramento, maybe not as unsteady as Malik Monk's future and everything and all the rumors going on this summer, is Keegan Murray. And Keegan is eligible for a contract extension. Technically, the Kings, before the end of October, can sign a new deal with Keegan Murray. He addressed that in addition to the expectations or the desire from the team and from himself to be a little more assertive and try and impose himself on the game a little more, especially on the offensive end.
I mean, for me, it's just being more assertive on both sides of the ball defensively, just find a way to find steals, things like that. Offensively, just being myself again. So I'm excited to get the ball rolling, and I think for me, I feel extremely confident going into this year, so I'm excited to get going.
You brought up being assertive. How comfortable are you with whether it's demanding the ball or asking the teammates to get you the ball more, being featured more on the offense? How open are you to that, and how receptive are your teammates to that side?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for a good team is to have open communication. So for me, if I'm feeling it or if I feel like something is working when I have the ball, I think that's just a big aspect, especially me going into my 4th year. So that's something that we implement as a team, the communication aspect. And I think if the more I can be assertive, the more my teammates can trust me, the better things will be. So.
Keegan, I know it's day one, but do you have any personal goals set for yourself that you want to try to achieve this season?
Yeah, I mean, get back to 40% from 3, and then try and get on the most improved list. Obviously, you gotta win games to be the winner of that, but that's one of my goals this year.
You brought up your agent. Just where are you at with your contract negotiations? Is somewhere you think you're going to be long term, or do you think you'll get something done by the time the deadline around Halloween?
Yeah, I mean, I told my agent for me, I just don't want to worry about that. I told him he can handle the business side, and when I hear from him or if I see his phone or his contact on my phone, I want it to be something important. So I think he's doing a good job handling that business side of it. And I'm doing a good job just implementing or being on the court and being present. So.
I'm a big fan of the goals that Keegan Murray set for himself. Did you catch that? He wants to get back above 40% from three-point range, which he hasn't done since his rookie season in the league. And then he wants to be in the most improved player conversation. Now, I like that Keegan had to say, of course, we have to win basketball games in order for me to be in that conversation. But most improved player is typically an award that goes to a player that in some way, shape, or form had a breakout year. And I think that's what Kings fans and the Kings organization themselves have been hoping for and waiting for from Keegan Murray. We've seen what he can do on the defensive end. He's improved tremendously as a rebounder, and we all know he can shoot the rock. But it's, can you become more than that? Can you become not just a part of the offense that makes everything work? Can you be a featured part of the offense? Can you get yours despite the fact that you have teammates like DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis that are going to take a lot of shots themselves and need the ball in their hands? Can Keegan work his way into that group to where it's, oh no, we got to get Keegan the ball too. We have to get him going because he's a massive part of what we do. That's what the Sacramento Kings are looking for from Keegan Murray, and that will probably massively impact the amount of money that he will be making on his next contract if, of course, the Sacramento Kings and Keegan Murray don't agree to a deal before the end of October deadline. Another player with contract negotiations or a contract situation this year is Keon Ellis. Over the summertime, Scott Perry and the Sacramento Kings elected to pick up Keon Ellis's the final year of his deal, the team option of his contract, which is for around $2.5 million. Now, for a player of Keon Ellis's caliber, as important as Keon is to this Sacramento Kings team, that is a tremendous bargain, to say the least, for Keon. But by taking that, the Sacramento Kings also risk losing him at the end of the year because he will now be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year if he decides to test free agency, meaning he can go wherever he wants to go, and if he doesn't choose the Kings, there's nothing that the Kings can do about it. Well, Keon talked about his contract situation, also talked about the next level of his game, how he can continue to build on this tremendous path that he has been on over the last few years from two-way player to important rotational piece. Here's what he had to say.
You're a featured example in the league of elevating your game and taking advantage of opportunity every single year. What is the next elevation of Keon Ellis's game this year?
That's a great question. I mean, I think doing what I do, but maybe even a little bit more efficient, and showing maybe parts of my game that others probably haven't seen or know that I could do. So, but I think whatever the game calls for. So, changes night to night. But yeah, I think just showing those things and being ready for that.
The team picking up your restricted option this offseason, do you feel any sort of pressure to be able to perform this year? And is there been conversations about an extension at all within your team?
Nah, no pressure. I mean, just going to go out there and do what I do. I mean, I know what I do is wanted. So, no pressure. But as far as contract extensions wise, I haven't really heard too much of anything, but I mean, like I said, I don't really worry about it, so just gotta go out there and be me.
Is it motivating being in a contract year essentially?
I guess you could say so, but me, like I really haven't thought about it much. I mean, technically last year kind of was a little bit as well, so but I don't think that'll really change too much of what I do. I think my role will still be the same. The way I play will pretty much still be the same too. So pretty sure, looking forward to everything being pretty much the same.
Who's the hardest person to defend on this roster in your
Oh, no, at all. Nah, I'm joking. But I don't know. They all have different games. Like DeMar, he has a back to the basket aspect. Zach has a little bit of it, but Zach can also kill you from 3 levels. Malik has a shifty game. So they're all tough to guard. They're all tough to guard. But I don't know, man. I like me against all of them. So, yeah.
Just speaking for me here, I hope Keon Ellis is a Sacramento King for a long time. This episode of the Locked On Kings podcast is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Now, most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for those of us with busy lives. So pretty much all of us, right? If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is there for you. It does all of the heavy lifting. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, and get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in full control of your money without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. There's so many ways to use it, whether you're identifying your spending habits, specifically where your money is going, tracking all of those subscriptions that are easy to lose track of. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNBA. Well, let's talk about the newest Sacramento King, Dennis Schroeder, who is not just joining the Kings, he is really being given the keys as the point guard, really the only main point guard on this Sacramento Kings roster. On top of that, Dennis Schroeder is coming off of a summer where he led Germany to a Eurobasket title and also was MVP of the entire Eurobasket tournament. Of course, he talked about that and his fit in Doug Christie's system, playing for Doug Christie, and the defense that comes with it.
A lot of your new teammates seem pretty locked into the Eurobasket run and paying attention. Did they say anything to you when you got back just about the run that you had with Germany?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they said congrats, and they watched. I think it was a historic, summer for Germany and how we played. I think it was awesome, and hopefully we can bring some success, to this organization, how we want to play, and make it to the playoffs.
What advantage does that give you coming into training camp, having played that high level of basketball so recently, that you can kind of hit the ground running?
I think it's always great to play, first off represent Germany, but it's European Championships is always great competition, and I think it's great. You always get better. It's better than every practice, and so the games was good, exhibition games was good, and I'm always fortunate to do it.
Dennis, what makes this a good fit for you with Doug's offense? What makes this the right place for you?
I think just playing with pace, defensively picking up 94 feet, bringing intensity on that end, kind of that dog mentality. Offensively playing with pace, sharing the ball, move the defense side to side, and I think that's how we play with the national team, and we had a lot of success that way, and I hope that we can come together as a team doing the same things, and it's going to be really, really hard to stop us then.
Dennis, to your point about defense, how important is it for you to kind of set the tone at that end and help that become part of this team's identity?
I always, did it my whole life. That's how I started, became a chance. I think 11 years ago, my second year, because I picked up 94 feet and changed the game. And that's a part of my game, and I always try to do the right things for the team. And defensively, I think we can pick it up another level, and that's the reason why I'm here, I think.
Well, someone who has firsthand knowledge of how incredible European basketball is Domantas Sabonis, who of course plays for the Lithuanian national team. Sabonis talked about the incredible accomplishments of Dennis Schroeder and Germany. Plus, Domas is now the longest tenured King on the roster. Can you believe it? He also addressed the chaos of last season and the team moving forward.
It was tough. I feel like a lot of us, especially for me personally, went through a lot of new experiences for the first time, throughout a season. And just learning how to deal with it, move forward. It was tough because no one knew who was staying, who was going to be here, and we just tried to do the best we could.
Thomas, how long did it take to find maybe that clarity that you were looking for this offseason to know that things were going to be okay?
Scott's done a great job of making it clear of how he wants to play, how he wants his organization run, and what to believe in. And, it aligns with a lot of the players here. So, that's a really good start.
You got your point guard.
Yes, Dennis is, fantastic. He's been proving it, in FIBA the last couple of years, doing amazing things, and apart from having a high IQ who can get all of us, in the right position, he's also going to go out there and guard.
Can you explain how difficult it is to do what he's done, winning all those European titles and then MVP?
What he's done the last 4 years, how do you explain in NBA terms? I don't know. three-peat and being an MVP, you know? Basically.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Last year, three-point percentage for you skyrocketed. The volume
Yeah.
went up. Are you expecting even another level with that, or are you happy with where it was at?
Yeah, of course. I shot a pretty good level. I think it was like 2 or something attempts, so the goal is to get those attempts higher, and what I worked on was basically having a quicker release, so I just feel more comfortable getting them up.
Do you want to get back to whether it's the DHOs or a lot of the two-man game, especially with yourself, DeMar,
Yeah.
yourself, Zach LaVine? Just has that been an emphasis on this group?
The offense, we've only got little things throughout the summer, so we don't know the full package. I was used differently towards the end of the year, and hopefully this summer, what we've talked about is that we're going to try and focus on other ways where we can involve everybody.
If you've listened to the Locked On Kings podcast over the last few months, you know how much I've been screaming about getting more of a two-man game going between both Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis and Zach LaVine. Of course, it's up to Doug Christie to figure that out, and we end with new Kings head coach Doug Christie. He talks about his defensive identity that comes to the absolute surprise of nobody, especially here in Sacramento. We know Doug Christie and how defensive-oriented first he is. He talks about that defensive-first approach. And then he also chimed in on balancing playing the veterans on this roster with implementing the young guys and how many guys he wants to consistently play in his rotation.
You referred to during last year a lot about fixing a plane while it was in the air. Now it's been landed for a little while. What is it about like the Doug Christie coaching style that we should expect to see, or that you want to showcase in training camp, preseason, and beyond?
I think that you guys know me and know who I am. We're coming to be in your face. That's just who I am. So you're going to have to wait and see. I think you kind of already know it, but to see it out there, to get a training camp of it, there are different aspects of me that are obviously different than other people. So that's something that I impart to the team. In the dinner last night, the messaging was as such, like, this is what we're coming to do, make our fans proud and hit the floor in a way that will make them proud.
You talked about 53s a game. That's not really your roster this year. How are you going to adjust? What is sort of the design here?
I think you play to what you have. First and foremost, we want to play defense. So that's, you talking about offense. What are you doing, bro? Defense always first. So if we defend, we get out and we run. That's what we want to do. We want to defend, and we want to defend. Once we get out and run, we're looking for layups. We want to touch the paint. If we do that, we spray the ball out and we shoot threes. To that number, we'll see what that number ends up at. But more than anything, defensively, we want to create an identity. And, there's a beautiful side to basketball, obviously, on the offensive end, and we want to share the basketball. But defense is where we want to hang our hat.
How do you envision finding the balance between playing your veterans at the minutes that you guys probably need from them to try to win games, while also incorporating some of the younger guys and make sure they're developing?
Good question. For me, I would like to play 10 people. I believe that the style that I'm going to ask them to play is difficult. We're not floating while we're on the floor. We're playing, and that could be tough. So I think that there's probably built in some minutes there for those guys. But listen, when we hit training camp, it's about earning what you get. So that's always how I was brought up playing basketball. Like, you weren't really given, so you about earning it. So these young guys, I think that they understand, watching them in the summertime and seeing how they move and how they work. The 6 pillars of who we're about that Scott speaks to, they are all about that. My defensive and offensive identity, they're all about that. So I think they'll find their way.
We also spoke with Sacramento Kings general manager Scott Perry today. I don't have that audio for you, but to summarize mainly the takeaways from our conversation with Scott Perry, number one, he would not really comment and cannot really comment on the Jonathan Kuminga situation with the Golden State Warriors and the rumored Sacramento Kings involvement or trade offers, sign and trade offers to the Warriors to try and bring Kuminga here. The Warriors have until this Wednesday to figure out that situation. That's the deadline that Kuminga has to sign a qualifying offer. So I guess we'll find out more about that situation in the coming days this week. Scott, did say that he's very happy with this roster, how it's constructed going into this season. And it seems pretty set in stone going into training camp tomorrow. And then Scott didn't really comment too much on the contract negotiations for Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis, but emphasized how excited he is to have both of them on the team and how much faith that the organization has in the two of them. So now our attention turns to training camp. It starts tomorrow. We're going to have training camp in Sacramento for the rest of this week, and that's just the beginning. Preseason right around the corner as well. And then before we know it, it'll be opening night with the Kings in Phoenix taking on the Suns. So get ready for more on the Kings training camp. We'll be there every single day this week with takeaways and sharing what we see inside the Kings practice facility. Make sure you tune into the Locked On Kings podcast, which is available for you wherever you get your podcasts on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app or on YouTube. Appreciate you tuning in. It's been another fun media day. Now, let's get to Sacramento Kings training camp.